Hey, I'm Craig Ford, Mayor of Gadsden, and we're back with another Meet the Staff interview. And we want to thank Miss Iva Nelson for coming today. Iva, I'm big into football, and they have like 5-star recruits, 4-star, 3-star, and then some aren't rated. Iva's a 5-star recruit.
Well, thank you.
So the lady that Miss Iva came after is a good friend of ours also. And,
Absolutely.
if you can mention her too, she
I
just passed
definitely
away
will.
recently, but a good friend of both of ours. And but this city, mayors come and go, and council people come and go. But you better hope your city clerk doesn't come and go. And Iva is important. Not only does she keep the city running, but she keeps us in line. But she does everything by the book. And there's a lot of laws, especially being able to serve in the legislature for 18 years. When I would call from a state position to the city, I'll be honest with you, we just call the clerk. Because the clerk is somewhat of permanent of nature, and they knew kind of city ordinances, city resolutions, city progression, everything that goes on with the city. But Iva, I'm going to stop talking. I want you to just tell me a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with Gadsden.
Well, I have been with the city of Gadsden since 1984.
Okay.
So that's quite a while. I think it's 38 years.
That's not too long ago. Remember?
Not too long ago. It'll be 39 years,
Wow.
I believe, in March.
That's a big accomplishment.
And you've already mentioned Martha Elrod, so I always have to give a shout out to Martha Elrod. When I interviewed for the position and she hired me, she said, I've kind of gotten hand-me-down employees over the years.
Yeah.
We had an extra one here. Oh, go work in the clerk's office. She said, I think you're the first employee I've actually recruited and hired and brought on board. And she said, I want you to know everything that I know. And I said, oh, that's good. I'm ready to learn. I'm willing to learn. And she said, and I want you to be city clerk someday. And I said, well, thank you for your confidence in me, but don't retire anytime soon.
Were you the
You
assistant
stay
clerk
as
under
long
Martha?
as you want to. When I first came on in 1984, my job classification was a clerk typist.
Wow.
So in 1986, we moved to mayor council form of government. So it changed the functions, and the clerk's office took on some additional things that they had not done under commission form of government. So we were blessed to have the assistant city clerk position created in that administration that went from 1986 to 1990.
Wow.
So then I was able to be classified assistant city clerk. And of course, Martha worked until 2002. And so when she retired, then I was appointed city clerk to complete that term.
Wow.
And then I've been appointed several times since, which I'm very grateful for.
So when you talk about appointment, explain the process of that.
The city clerk is actually a little bit of a unique position. I'm elected is the official term for it, but I'm not elected by the citizens. I'm elected by the city council.
Right.
So during the election process, I work very closely with all the candidates. And so sometimes you have council members that return. Sometimes you have brand new people.
Right.
So, but I get to know everybody, which is a plus during the election process. And I always tell everybody, I just hope that they have confidence in the job that I do, and that they would see fit to appoint me to serve for the duration of their term.
And I think
so.
That's
My
the
term
easiest
ends
vote
every
we
4
had.
years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, and when I was running for mayor, there were other people running, and it doesn't matter if you were an incumbent or who you were, you treated everybody equally and fairly.
Yes, sir.
And
I always
really
try
just,
to do
you
that.
just follow the rules or the law.
You do.
And that's all you do.
You do.
So, and I would call you a lot and ask you some crazy questions because it's totally different from the state. And a lot of you, we're still on paper copies a lot, which I think we're going to the.
We are. This was our last election cycle that the candidates will file paper Fair Campaign Practices Act reports.
Right.
So beginning with the next municipal election cycle, Gadsden is an off year.
Right.
So 2 years, it'll actually be 3 years from now, when most of the cities are having their elections, their candidates will begin filing electronically.
Okay.
So that will usher in that new era.
And Iva's office is on the 4th floor, across from the city council people's office.
Yes.
And but we rely on Iva all the time, pretty much 3 or 4 or 5 times a day from the mayor's office. But Iva, tell us a little bit about your office. Who's in your office? And what
Okay.
positions you have?
Okay, we're a small office, not a large department like police or fire, but I have an assistant city clerk position that's full time, and I have an administrative office assistant who is full time as well. And I've had a secretary position that's full time, and that person has chosen, because of life situations, to retire. But she's planning on coming back to work for me part time. So
Wow.
we've taken
That's
one
good.
full time position and made two part time positions
good.
out of it. And so I'm looking forward to getting that into play. And we've got a brand new part time person that we're kind of getting oriented. The clerk's office. Our tasks are very detailed, and as you mentioned, we have to make sure we're in compliance with state laws, that we're not violating anything. So there's a lot of detail, and there's a lot of learning curve for anybody who comes in. So we're working on that process with our new employee, but I have a great staff. I'm very, very
really
blessed, and nothing could be accomplished without everyone.
Well, we
in
like
our
to go in there and
office.
try to cut up sometime, and they'll cut up, but it's all business, so, which I like. But
They're all very conscientious and really care about the good of the city, and that's what you look for and what you need.
Yeah, and when I think, I'll be honest with you, when I think of the face of Gadsden, I think of you, and I think of the clerk's office, and because when we bring people in, you're a staple, and you're here, and the clerk's office is always here, and everybody else comes and goes, runs around, and I will tell this on camera. Iva may get mad at me, but yeah, on a Thursday night, I think we had about 80-something appointments to committees. And everybody knows how I like to keep rolling about 24/7. And I sent Iva a bunch of appointments, and about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, I came up here, and Iva was still here working. So that showed you your dedication. But what's the one thing you love about Gadsden?
Wow, I love the people of Gadsden, and I think that it's evidenced when we have a big problem or a big disaster. It always amazes me that they come out, they're willing to do what is needed for their neighbor or their fellow man. And I love the beauty of our city. I love the natural resources that we have. And I look forward to your administration.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see some growth in Gadsden. Maybe not too much all at once,
Right.
but I think growth would be great. And to see more and more things that we can provide for our citizens.
All right.
Because really, when it comes down to it, I often like to joke and say, I have 8 bosses. I have 7 council members, and I have the mayor. I answer to the
Well,
mayor.
I think we all have one boss. It's you. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But we really have over 30,000 bosses
Yeah, we
because
do.
we work for the citizens.
That's
And
right.
we try to keep that in mind. And a
Yeah.
lot of times people don't understand city government and who does what and who they need to talk to. So I'm always careful when I'm talking with citizens, and ask my staff to do the same thing. Understand that they may not know exactly what they need or who they need to talk with. And so we try to be a tour guide, so to speak.
And I'll
of the
tell
city.
you, from my standpoint, you think you go serve Montgomery 18 years, you know a lot. Man, I knew nothing about city. I knew a little bit, and I learned something every day. It's totally different.
It
There's
is.
2 different types of government.
Very different type of government. We still have the 3 branches of
Yes,
government.
that's right.
The executive, legislative, and judicial, but it just
Yeah.
works a
It
little
works
differently
totally different.
when
But
you
I'll
bring
tell
it
you,
close to
I love
home.
city municipal government. It's a lot more fun than Montgomery.
It
I'll be
is.
honest, it is to me, but
It's close to the people.
so I know nobody likes to brag on themselves, but I'm going to ask you to do something.
Okay.
Tell us some of your awards and everything that you've received over your 10-year service here.
Okay. Well, I began enrolling in training classes when I came on to work in the clerk's office. And so I achieved the designation of certified municipal clerk. And you take university level classes. It's coordinated through the University of Alabama and their continuing education. So I was able to do that. I'm sure I've got enough points to do my master municipal clerk, but I've been a little remiss in trying to get that paperwork put together. And I think the thing that means the most to me was several years ago I was selected Clerk of the Year.
Wow.
And so that's an award that's given among municipal clerks. You're nominated by your district, and then you compete. You fill out applications according to how long you've served and the things that you do for your city. And so I felt very blessed to be
How many
selected.
municipalities are in Alabama?
Over 400.
So you're the one. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
That's
it is a
huge.
big deal.
And there's a lot more awards I know you're not mentioning because I've seen them in your office. But I mean, that is a big deal. And if you see a city that's struggling, and we hope none of them are, but if there is a city that's struggling or one that has had to go in some financial dire straits or something, and I saw a lot of that in Montgomery, I'll just be honest with you, you can go straight back to the mayor's office and to the clerks, and there's instability. That's a nice way of saying it. Gadsden has never had that problem, and that's a lot because of you.
Fortunate.
And but I mean that sincerely, and we appreciate that. So I know one thing about Iva Nelson that she probably won't tell, but I want you to tell us one thing about you that people may not know.
Okay. I have another life on the weekends.
And what is that?
Years ago, I started playing the piano
Really? I
for
didn't know
First
that.
Presbyterian Church. It was
Really?
a large church. We're now a small church, and we have a different name, Covenant Fellowship.
Where are they located?
We're down on Steel Station Road now.
Okay, that's
We had a
what I
big
thought, yeah.
building downtown that we sold. We
Yeah.
were approached by another church that wanted to purchase
That's
the
where I
building.
went to elementary school.
Yes,
Yeah,
Westminster started
way back
in
in
the
the day.
church building back in the day. And so we've gotten smaller over the years, and so my duties have expanded a little bit.
So you play the piano for the
I
church?
play the piano, I lead the
didn't know.
congregational singing,
Yeah.
and provide whatever special music
Well, I
that
wouldn't think
they
anything less.
that
But
they do. So,
so my thing I know about you
Oh,
is
okay.
I was a good tennis player, and I used to play tennis. And there's a bunch of women, and my wife was included some, but Marianne Clayton and some
Yes.
good people. But I don't. Do you still play tennis?
I haven't in the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I still try to play a little golf here and
Do you
there.
really?
It's
Yeah.
not as much running as
At
tennis.
Twin Bridges.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a beautiful course. But and thanks to Chet down there. But
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, Iva, we can't say enough how much we appreciate you and thank you for your time. And Iva was on call 24/7 pretty much. But it's just amazing to me your work ethic and how you just always have a smile on your face and you just go, it's okay, it's what we do. So thank you for what you do, and I mean that sincerely from our office.
I appreciate
Okay.
that.
All right,
Thank you so much.
And this is Craig Ford and Iva Nelson from Meet the Staff. So thank you for joining us.